Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday night. It's waiver day. What a great, lovely Tuesday evening, I have to say.
Man, we're getting down in Sioux Falls where I'm at, man. We're getting hammered with some rain and how's the weather up there?
Actually, we had a little drizzle this morning, a little bit, nothing crazy, but it looked like it might have been kind of sunny most of the day, but looks like it's kind of cloudy around me anyways. But yes, welcome in everybody to Odd Rhythm Fantasy Sports. I'm Jamie, and that's Eli. We're here to help you out with those waiver claims. We're gonna do a bunch of random stuff. Well, I wouldn't say random stuff, but if you actually saw our new introduction or intro, you'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah, baby.
these what these wise guys are gonna be talking about and presenting to you guys." Yeah, it's fantastic, I gotta say. Oh,
Fantastic.
but if you guys haven't, Eli,
Well, what are you doing? Jay was talking about the black cloud that's hanging over him up in Aberdeen right now, and there's a black cloud around a lot of different NFL players and teams, and you know what? Where we can discuss that, why don't you come on over to Discord? Got a lot of good people, uh, good conversations, a lot of goodies over on Discord. Catch me and Jay over there. Spotify, you can listen back to some of the old shows. I mean, we were one of the first ones, Tank Dell. We called that. We did our summer, our summer special where we went through every single division. We broke down a lot of different players on a lot of different teams. I'd like to think that we were some of the first people on Tank Dell, Puka Nakua. I mean, Puka's setting records now. He's blowing up. A lot of those guys we were one of the first on. So you can go back and listen to some of those old shows from the summer and the new one. This will be up probably after we're done. Jay will upload it, and so Spotify. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean,
mhm.
uh, TuneIn, Twitch.
Yep.
Sometimes I don't know. Maybe we'll be on Twitch. We had an incident a while ago with a certain Lego lady that I won't mention here, but um, who's kind of famous on Twitch. Oh,
Uh,
but yeah, no. So yeah, we're a bunch of different places you can find us. So
yeah, it is. It's but our main sources are Spotify, Apple, and Google are our main gigs. But yeah, our the Discord description's in the link or the description below. So click it, join us, and come to chat with us. Hockey, basketball is starting up too as well. I got a few channels in there for that, but we'll just kind of leave it as that. If you're looking for basketball or not baseball's over with. So good, screw baseball. I actually won a championship. Booyah. So I'm
hell
happy
yeah,
about that. Yes, I know. Oh yeah, I should where's my there we
take a bow.
go. Right?
That's it,
Oh wait,
man. That's a lot of work. We did some baseball streams earlier in the season with Donovan, and I don't think people, if you don't play fantasy baseball, I don't think you realize how much of a grind that is. And I mean, Jay was on that. He he was on like white on rice for 6 months, and congratulations to him. And Donovan, if Donovan's listening, if he wants to chime in where he finished at, but I
yeah,
forget where
it's
I think I was in. I think I was in one league, but as I tend to do, my ADD, don't know where I
yeah,
ended up, but
it's
I didn't make the playoffs. That's for damn sure.
yeah. Yeah, we have a Facebook user says, "What up, guys?" I wonder if that's Buddy. Hey, Buddy, if that's you, hey man, how's it going? Do any tattoos tonight?
This is,
Oh,
this is Alias. This is Facebook
yes,
Alias.
yes, yep. But no, other than that, yeah, baseball was a long grind. I'm just happy it's over with. I mean, and it's a long haul. It's not easy. That's for damn sure. Oh,
I didn't think we'd be starting out with baseball, but I just wanted to say, Ronald Acuna, good God, man, that 70 over 70 steals, 40 homers, over 100 RBIs, batting over 330. I mean, this is one of the. I mean, we were talking about Ohtani a few months ago. With what he was doing. Leading the whole majors and strikeouts and wins at one point, and at one point leading the majors in homers. But Acuna might have just hold my beer, might have just one upped him and had the greatest offensive season maybe in the history of baseball. I mean, it like he filled out. If you had Acuna on your team, you had a good chance of at least competing for the championship. I just had to get that in there, man. Great year.
Yeah, that's for sure. No, yeah, there's a couple other guys too. I mean, Esteury Luis from the
Braves,
A's. He's
Matt Olson. Matt Olson
Yep.
had over 50 homers. Like Braves were just killing it.
Yep. Esteury Luis. He was the next guy below Acuna. He had like 70 some odd base steals and whatnot. So I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that happened in baseball this year, which was just crazy. A lot of aces, at the beginning of the year that were lost due to injuries and stuff like that. So it hurt a lot of people's baseball teams. I know it hurt mine because I lost quite a few aces, but we live and learn. So we learned to become better fantasy players from the year. But
Jamie's PSA. Let's be better people. Let's save the planet.
Oh, good gracious. But just a few highlights over the weekend, just from the weekend. Freaking Bears and Denver game. I was kind of watching. I mean, I was watching. So Fields goes off for four.
Oh,
yeah. So Fields goes off for four touchdowns. Gets 4 touchdowns. And somehow, miraculously, they just lose the game. Like they were they were lightening up freaking Denver, and next thing you know, Denver comes back. Denver comes back, and it's like, screw you, Bears. We don't like you much, and just all of a sudden they just come back and win. How the hell's that happen?
Jay, they've lost 14 in a row. Justin Fields, who, I mean, that was like his claim to fame was he was a great fantasy quarterback. Like he wasn't winning any games the last 2 years, but you could always depend on him being, especially in a 2 quarterback league, automatic start, if not in every 10, 12 man. I mean, yeah, that was it. And he struggled the first couple weeks. So I'm assuming he was on a lot of people's benches. I don't know if you were really impulsive, maybe you dropped him. Maybe in a smaller 10, if you were in a 10 man, maybe you pulled the trigger early on. Fields, comes out 4 touchdowns and this nonsense. Eberflus, I think they need a clean house, man. I really do. I mean, Denver came to play. I mean, Denver's getting better on offense. We'll talk about Jaleel McLaughlin here in a little bit. The running back that stepped in when Javonte got hurt, but and I like Marvin Mims too. It's Courtland Sutton. So, I mean, Denver's starting to bring it together on the offensive. Their defense is awful, but the offense starting to come together. But Chicago is just a damn train wreck. And you know what? I don't think all of it's Justin Fields' fault. I think he's been the scapegoat. But the coach is awful. The coordinators are awful. I don't even know if the GM is good. Ryan Poles, like the Bears are just a train wreck.
Yeah, they are. It's crazy to think. Would you take Anthony Richardson over Fields right now?
Yeah, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that Justin. I mean, Anthony Richardson's got his ceiling is up here. I mean, if he hits, this guy could be a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that doesn't mean Justin Fields is a scrub.
Oh no,
like,
no.
He could
of course not.
He's a better fantasy quarter, like just fantasy wise. Not guys lost 14 games in a row, obviously, but fantasy wise, better fantasy quarterback than Ryan Tannehill, better fantasy quarterback than Sam Howell, better. No, those are just a couple off the top of my head. Better fantasy quarterback than Zach Wilson. So those are 3 guys right there that he in fantasy wise is better than. So yeah, but yeah, Anthony Richardson has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, for sure.
Of the 2. Yeah. So I would definitely ddynasty. Anthony Richardson. I'd be all over Justin Fields.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, it's maybe they if they keep on this track, maybe Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison are their 1-2 back-to-back picks this year, and maybe the Bears actually get a number 1 wide receiver, and let's say bye to Fields, maybe trade him off to somewhere where he could maybe be liable at. I Fields is in my eyes, Fields is talented, but with the Bears, they're not comprehending what his capabilities are, and it's very, very sad to see it's very sad to see that. Um, what do you think of your let's just hit on the we'll just do a couple, and then we'll get into our, highlighted highlighted players. What did you think of
Yeah.
your Bucks and Saints offhand? What did you think, if you watched that at all?
I thought Trey Palmer and Godwin stepped up when Mike Evans got hurt there. Had a bye week, coming up. So I think Mike Evans, just for fantasy owners, I think Mike Evans will be fine for week 6. So, don't hit the panic button quite yet. Bucks looked defense. I knew the defense was solid. I knew the defense was probably top 10 in the league. But what surprised me is Baker. Baker's been playing really well. Not getting much out of the running game, but I didn't expect them to. And the Bucks, I wish, like I said, I've been waiting for that phone call to Jonathan Taylor to try to get him down to Tampa, but I don't think that's going to come. So, and he's about ready to come off the pup list too, and in Indy, probably guessing week 6 he'll be back, week 6, week 7. So, it's before the trade deadline. But yeah, Bucks look great.
Yep.
Right now, if you got my projection wise, like, yeah, we beat the Saints, Vikings, and Bears. That's not saying much. We beat the teams we were supposed to beat. We're not as good as Philly. We're not as good as Dallas.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
as good as San Francisco. I don't even think we could beat Seattle. I mean, but I think we could be a fringe. We could win 9 games if we keep on this trajectory. Bucks could go 9-8 and win this division. Division's not that good. Atlanta's. I mean, Desmond Ritter's awful. Carolina is awful. The Saints. If Derek Carr just looked bad the first 4 games, honestly. I don't think they could do any. I don't think they're any worse off if they put Jameis Winston in. So, yeah, that division is very winnable. But yeah, the Bucks look good. Oh no, now on my side, how about them Cowboys? How about them boys? Ride them up. Oh man, they
Right?
laid the feet down on that damn Mac Jones. Oh, don't even get me started on him.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
call him the coach killer. We need to get a graphic.
Right?
Like the
Yeah, it was
little Toy Story thing where the little kid's head, the little doll's head comes off.
yeah, I'll mention that here in just a second. Yeah, but, maybe we can start trusting Fields here going forward, because he had 3 touchdowns, 246 yards. Evans, he caught all of his targets and he had receptions. He caught all of his balls. Godwin had 11 targets, 8 for 114 yards. I mean, that's not bad at all. Between Palmer and Hopkins, T. Hopkins, whatever you want to call him. Palmer did have a touchdown.
Tompkins.
Tompkins. He had a touchdown as well. They both, between the two of them, had 3 and 4 targets. Tompkins had had the receptions. But I mean, other than that, Carr looked bad. Even though he was injured, he shouldn't have been playing that game, because they just Michael Thomas had 6 targets. Yeah, he pretty much did. Olave was not even involved at all. He pretty much was lost at sea. That was just kind of sad. But Kamara came back, pretty much had no touchdowns, but had a heyday and had 14 targets, 11 receptions for only 33 yards, which is crazy. 11 rushing with 51 yards was just, it's like, what? How in the hell is this possible? But yeah, that was just kind of crazy on that. I was just like, just insane. But everybody, I'm sure, is happy that Camaro's back, because he is an electric player. I'll tell you that. But yeah, the Dallas Patriots game blew my mind. Dallas came out just smashing. The tight ends had Ferguson had 21 some odd points. The wide receivers were kind of a split between Gallup, Tolbert, and Cook. So CeeDee Lamb's still gonna be the number 1 guy, but the Gallup, Tolbert, and Cooks, they're all kind of split at this moment right now. So it's kind of hard to really say who's who, and like wide receiver 1 or not, wide receiver 2 or 3 kind of thing. The run game was a little weak. I mean, Pollard was all right, and I think Dowell's got a little injured, I think, from that game. But Patriots just stayed home. They didn't show up to play, so that's kind of a good thing for us, because we have the Niners. We have the Niners this weekend.
What Well, that's gonna be the game of the week. I can't wait for that. I know you can't either. And I I don't know where the Patriots go from here. And that was a brilliant move on Dallas's part, like, getting rid of Zeke. I don't know if it's if it's the schemes over in New England or Zeke's just shot, but Zeke's got nothing left. Stevenson ain't doing much better, honestly. So it might just be the offensive line there. But Mac Jones is awful. They have no weapons on the outside. I don't know how they beat the Jets. Honestly, I think the Patriots. I'm going to say it. I think the Patriots are the worst team in the NFL. I really do. I think they're the worst team in the league. I wouldn't. I think if the Bears and Patriots played on a neutral field, I think that no pun intended fields. I think the Bears could beat them. I really do. If the Bears played like they did Sunday, I think the Bears could beat them. I think Patriots are the worst team, and and Dallas has been beaten up on teams they should. I know they had the stinker against Arizona, but Dallas and San Francisco is going to be a hot one, and they even got your boy Deuce Vaughn in there. I saw Deuce caught a couple balls and got in there for when Dowdle went down. So maybe Deuce will get some action if Dowdle's out for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Our friendly Facebook user says I was debating on picking up Fields in fantasy this year, but I picked up Richardson and Purdy. I'm so glad I didn't pick up Fields. Yeah, it all depends too. I mean, I picked up Richardson in a lot of leagues as I could. I mean, I went for Herbert too as well in most of my leagues. But like if you're in a 2 quarterback leagues, I mean, I picked up Fields because he has the rushing upside. But yeah, it's kind of shooting myself in the foot a little bit. But I mean, yeah, other than that, right now I'm kind of all in on Richardson. At first I wasn't. I was kind of skeptical on Richardson at first because I wasn't quite sure how he was going to look. So right now I'm like, dude, this guy he's like the better version of Fields in my eyes right now.
He's got a Jay, he's got a chance to be like a bigger version of Lamar Jackson. Just imagine Lamar Jackson, but if he's like a couple inches taller and maybe 10, 15 pounds heavier. That's Anthony
Yep.
Rich. That's
Yep.
scary. I mean, Lamar is still great, but 2019 Lamar, I mean, if you get AR5 like that I think next year is going to be his year to pop. I think his second year. Steichen, I love the coach. They're getting weapons together. I mean, we both like Josh Downs. I mean, Pittman Jr. is still great. I think they need a number one, like a true. I think Pittman Jr. It would be a great number 2. I think Downs would be a nice 3 or 4. Alec Pierce would be a nice 4. You kind of slot guys down where they should be. If they could get a number 1 guy, if they could get one of the 2 Ohio State guys, Egbuka or Harrison Jr. might be a little hard because he'll be going in the top 5, but or the kid from LSU. I mean, I think they could really use a true number 1 to pair up and maybe get some offensive line help next year in the draft. Maybe they need a pass rusher too, obviously. But I've heard that Max Crosby might be on the trading block. Like the Raiders, if they implode and start moving pieces, wouldn't that be nice in Indy? Going and getting Max Crosby from the Raiders. He's probably a top 6 or 7 pass rusher in the league. I mean, Crosby's great. I think the Colts could, like everything.
Yeah. Mr. Bubba Carlson.
Oh yeah.
I think
at the top Bubba. Hey, what's up, man?
At the top of our Facebook there should be a link for you to just hit on the StreamYard part, and you should be let StreamYard access your Facebook and your profile will pop up. So should be always a link at the top. So I just click on that. Takes like 30 seconds, and your Facebook will pop up on here. So he's like, yes, where you at with the Steelers? Dead last.
Train wreck. Where do I start? Pickett. I don't think they're doing him any favors. I mean, the OC Canada's awful. I know Deontay Johnson's out, but Deontay was never really a big factor anyways. The guy doesn't score touchdowns. George Pickens, I think they're wasting him and everything he's capable of. Najee Harris, and I don't even think it's all Najee's fault or Jaylen Warren's fault. I mean, the offensive line is awful. And the defense, defense is supposed to be their calling card. You know what I mean? Like they haven't shown up. They've put up a couple stinkers. You know what I mean? Like the 49ers smacked them around. Texans smacked them around. I don't even want to talk about the Steelers. I want to talk more about CJ Stroud. Yeah, that's who we should be focusing on. boy, oh boy. I mean, Mr. Consistent. I mean, literally the same stat line all 4 games just about. Like he's been super impressive. I was wrong. I'll be the first one to admit it. And then when he ends up when he retires, he's been to he's been on, 8 Pro Bowls and 3 All Pro teams. Then they'll like, "Oh, didn't you guys say he was going to be a bust?" Yeah, I did, but I mean, he's changed my opinion. He changed my opinion after the second game. I knew after week 2, I'm like, "Okay, this kid's got it." And
Right.
Richardson, um, they've been spectacular so far. But yeah, the Steelers are trash, absolute garbage. I don't think they're gonna. I think this is gonna be Mike Tomlin's first losing season. I don't think they win 8 games. I think they go 7-10. That's not a very good football team.
Ooh,
TJ Watt's great on the defense, but yeah, that's about it. Offense, fantasy wise, you stay away from just about everybody other than Pickens because Fryermuth, he's out. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but he was one of their big weapons. So they're hurting. They're hurting.
yeah, for sure. I was just trying to help out Mr. At the in our stream there. Go down to the bottom where it says I'm going live using StreamYard. Just click that link and just refresh your refresh it, and then it should be good, should be golden for you. But yeah, other than that, um, let's get into our next segment since we're kind of done with. Well, I
Oh,
could. Do you want me to
oh,
recap?
Jay, I was gonna say one thing before you get into the recap. If anybody was wondering about Joe Burrow, I think he's hurt. I don't think the Bengals are kind of a mess right now, 1-3. Barely got by the Rams a couple weeks ago. Got smacked around by the Titans, but I think Burrow's hurt. He didn't, overnight. He didn't just become a mediocre quarterback. He didn't become Zach Wilson overnight. So I think he's hurt. I think he's playing hurt. I think they should shut him down at least for 4 weeks. Put him on the IR. Just get him right because this season ain't going anywhere. And
Yeah,
so that was just my thoughts on the Bengals too. I mean, they've been trash.
yeah. I can just say here real quick. Where is my so I guess I can just jump into this real quick. Henry had 30 fantasy points, 22 attempts, 122 yards, touchdown. Had a passing touchdown in there. Tajay Spears. I think
Your boy.
he's coming around the bend. I think he's coming around the bend here. He had 5 attempts. I know he had a couple nice rushing attempts there too as well. He's kind of exciting. Hopkins, maybe a wide receiver too, because he's not really showing up at all. Titans, they sacked Burrow 3 times, and the Bengals, WTF, WTF. Higgins, ribs, he's out. I got him as my main wide receiver in a league, which kind of sucks for me. Boyd, maybe Tyler Boyd kind of comes in and fills in because if Higgins is out. And Chase, 9 targets, only 7 receptions, 6 yards, or not 6 yards. Sorry. He had only had 7 receptions. I mean, this is not. It's it's frustrating because the Bengals should be a lot better than this. And especially with a guy like me who has Chase on his team, or you drafted Chase in the first round, you're not seeing your production back. You're not at all, and it's very frustrating. So maybe guys that have Chase, maybe they go out and sell him. See if anybody's buying him. Like go buy low on this
Let me
guy.
let me clarify that in a year-to-year league, I'll be honest, I'd move off of any Bengals player. I think this year is just a lost cause. So if it's a year-to-year league, I trade Chase. I find somebody in your league that just it's Ja'Marr Chase. They go off the last 2 seasons. They don't realize that Burrow is it's like Space Jam. He lost the aliens came in and took his talent. Like Burrow isn't right. I trade off Burrow. I trade off Chase, Higgins, anybody. Mixon. I'd get rid of the whole. Yeah, if Dynasty now that's a different story. Don't get impatient. It's just a unlucky break if you have a bunch of stocks of Chase or Burrow but yeah, year to year you got to move off these guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's very frustrating. It does suck, and uh, yeah,
I can tell
I'm just
you're
excited.
already to cut bait. you
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lines in the water. Yeah, Jay, you're that fish is swimming off. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right, let's get into our highlighted segment because we got a lot to get through, and yeah, it's oh yeah. All right, guys, we're getting into our highlighted section. So Anthony Richardson makes another guest appearance. Anthony Richardson, 33 points, 33 fantasy points, 25 attempts and 11 completions, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Man, oh man, like with Richardson, this boy is electric, super electric. I just love everything I'm seeing from him. The I mean, he's like the next best Fields, man. I swear. I mean, each time you see him, he's making plays, he's running, and I think he maybe graduated from that, that Gator offense coming to the pros, But overall, I'm overly excited seeing this guy play. It's like I want to click and watch the Colts. It's just like he's doing something electric, which is totally insane, which I will kinda get back to, kinda looking at my, can can he be a top 20, fantasy, quarterback this year? That's the
Oh,
question.
I'll do you one. I'll do you one better. I think he can be a top 15 fantasy quarterback. Absolutely.
Ooh.
This guy stays on the field, Jay, with what he's doing, with the rushing yards. Because I mean, Fields, if things don't change, because Fields was, people before the season, people would have taken Justin Fields over AR5, right? Like that would have been, and nobody would have blinked an eye. Okay, Justin Fields, great fantasy quarterback, blah blah. But Fields might get benched through no fault of his own. Maybe middle of the year, Bears just lose patience, they bench him, so he jumps him. And then think about the other guys. I mean, Tannehill, get out of here. Half the league, even somebody like Jared Goff. Like, I think AR5 could put up comparable, if not more, fantasy points a week than Jared Goff. And Jared Goff's right in the middle. He's right in that fantasy like 13 to 16 range every week. In the totality of everything. So yeah, AR5, he stays healthy. Definitely a top 15 fantasy quarterback. Write that one down. Absolutely. And if you can get your hand, now is a bad time because he's starting to blow up a little bit. The time to get him would have been a couple weeks ago when he got hurt with that concussion. I think you find the right person that's impatient. But I mean, now it might be harder to get your hands on him. But if you can, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And the
it's
Colts. When's the last time the Colts? I was gonna say, when's the last time the Colts were must-watch TV? What, Peyton Manning? Maybe Andrew Luck 10 years ago. 5-10 years ago. Like this team has been garbage. And with Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz and all these scrubs, it's great. It's great to see. It's great to see this in Indy.
yeah, it is,
So we
because I
both
mean, yeah,
like Michael Pittman
'cause they got
Jr. for a while. We Jonathan Taylor and when he
yeah, you got that right. The Colts running backs, or the running backs, really didn't do anything in this game much. Their their wide receivers might take a little bit of a, production downfall, just a little bit, just because, Richardson can run. Downs, he might downgrade a little bit. It might not see a lot of receptions and stuff like that. But eh, I just like what I've seen from this guy. I mean, I'm overall impressed. I mean, I drafted him wherever I could, and each time I see this guy take the field, it's just outstanding. You're like, you just want to jump out of your pants, kind of thing, because he's electric. It's the only thing is, we all want those, production from, Pittman and, Downs, and he's kind of the upright. He's kind of coming up in the uprise. Pierce, I really haven't really seen much from Pierce. I mean, he's kind of lagging.
Yeah, he's kind of. You remember Scotty Miller from Tampa? or he's with the Falcons now, kind of a fourth or fifth receiver. That's Alec Pierce. I mean, just if somebody's hurt, he can fill in. Maybe get you 4 or 5 catches. Kind of a rotation guy. He's not anything. That's what I mean. Going forward, Pittman Jr., Downs, McKenzie, I'm not huge on, but I guess he's in the rotation. And then, like I said, I think they take a receiver high next year, get him one more weapon. But I was going to say I like what I've seen from Zach Moss, because people wrote him off after he got traded from Buffalo. But Zach Moss has been a nice fill-in for Taylor while he's been out. And so I give some love to Zach Moss too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love Zach Moss. I've always loved him when he was down in Utah. I mean, I loved what I saw from him, and the only downfall is when he was with Buffalo, he wasn't really getting used because there was already guys already there. So I mean, maybe this is a little little teaser for everybody. Like, hey, I have stuff in the tank yet, But maybe with if Taylor does come back, maybe Moss goes somewhere else next year or something. Who knows? But I think he's only in a 1-year deal or 1 or 2. I can't remember exactly what his things are. But well, look at that. Hey, it worked. Bubba says that's why I don't try to get the same players every year in fantasy. I mean, there might be guys that you might be on. I mean, everyone's going to have their stick to people that they like and they, dislike. It just all depends on what the situation comes out to be. And he goes to say, Richardson is a stud. I got a little nervous after he got concussion, and you can tell Florida misses him. Hell, they lost to Kentucky. Yeah, it does show. I mean, they have. We talked about their Gators quarterback here not too long ago, but yeah, it does show.
Man, they look, Jay, Bubba, they look good against Tennessee, but other than that, I mean, that Florida team, they're sorely missing. Graham Mertz is, decent quarterback, but again, Anthony Richardson, they're sorely missing him.
Oh yeah, it shows. It shows. But yeah, that's our overall Anthony Richardson. Just if you can keep him, use him as trade bait if you have to down the road, because our bye weeks have started, and I don't remember who will. I think Steelers or not Steelers. I know
Tampa
Chargers. Yep, Chargers, Tampa. Yep, and I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a third or not, but I know there's a few teams on bye this week. So,
if you want to start talking about the next guy, I'll find so we get the exact buys in. Give me.
Yep. I will here. Just a second.
Okay.
All right. Our next guy is kind of coming out of the woodworks here a little bit. Is Michael Wilson. He was actually a Stanford guy, 3rd round drafted. Okay, go ahead. What?
I was gonna say quick, just to close up the last point. Browns, Chargers, Bucks, and Seahawks all have buys this week. So if you have any stocks of any of those players like Lockett or Herbert, any of those guys, make sure you bench them and get somebody in.
All right. So back to Michael Wilson. 3rd round player drafted by the Cardinals and this year. He played all 5 years in Stanford. He's 6'2". He had so in his 5 years with Stanford, he had 11 touchdowns. So he had 134 receptions, 1,662 yards in total in the 5 years. His first 2 years he played 22 games total. The last 3, he only played 14 games. So pretty much in his sophomore year, 56 receptions, 672 yards with 5 touchdowns. His senior year, 26 receptions, 418 yards, and only 4 touchdowns. So this guy had a very limited sample size playing. I think he must have been injured quite a bit. His first couple of years, he must have been healthy, where he was he wasn't a 1,000-yard receiver. So I mean, this guy he's kind of more like a complementary wide receiver 2. He's not a full-blown wide receiver 1. Just from what I saw, he kind of had some bursts. I mean, he's got some nice intermediate, not really deep ball, but more kind of your kind of intermediate kind of guy. I mean, he's got some good jump ball skills. I just think he needs a lot more work. but he did have a good game this weekend, and it was a pretty hard game. So I mean, Dobbs' only option was Michael Wilson. He had 26 points. He was out in 70% of snaps. 7 targets, had all 7 receptions, 76 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So I mean, maybe this is kind of an outspring or uprise for Michael Wilson over, Marquise Brown and the other slot guy down there.
I think going forward, I like this kid, especially now we're getting into week 4 or 5. When it's starting to become slimmer pickings in terms of who the quality of guy you can grab. Like week 1 you could get Tank Dell, you could get a lot of Puka Nakua, possibly Tutu Atwell. You get a lot of those kind of guys. Now we're it's starting to the herd's starting to thin out a little bit. So and I'll mention in my waivers too when I do my Fab Five. Michael Wilson, I think is the best of the bunch right now, and definitely, I think I think he's their number 2. I really do, because Rondale Moore has never shown me. I mean, he's popped a couple times over over his career, last couple years, but he's never shown me he's got anything beyond being a number 3. So and Hollywood Brown, on weeks when good defenses are going to shut, like San Francisco, you ain't going to run the score up on them and throw for 400 yards or anything crazy like that. But on weeks where Hollywood Brown's getting shut down, Michael Wilson's going to step up. And I think you're going to see a few more games like this. I think, especially in division, I think when they play the Rams, Seahawks, I think you can see maybe 3 or 4 more games like this where he has either multiple touchdowns or, a decent number of targets and yards. I mean, this was a really good fantasy week, man. This was 26 points, or almost 27.
Yeah, it was. It's I know we talked about Michael Wilson a little bit in our divisional preview, and I don't remember what we all mentioned about him. And I think we might have highlighted him just a little bit, I believe.
That he was one of those guys that fell. I mean, he kind of because they had talked him up in training camp and some of the preseasons. That okay, this guy. I mean, we heard the same stuff about Puka. It's like they knew immediately. Sean McVay, they knew immediately. Okay, this guy's got it. Michael Wilson, not to that level. I mean, he's not breaking records like Puka, but they knew what they had in him. And I think what happened, Stanford has been a bad program. When he was there, the 4 or 5 years, Stanford's been awful. I mean, this isn't the 10 years ago with David Shaw and Harbaugh, and when they were a good program with CMC, Luck, when they used to have good players. I mean, they had nobody around him, and I think he was hurt from what I was reading, and I think a lot of teams just stayed away from him, and he went lower in the draft because of that. And the Cardinals got themselves a steal. So I like Michael Wilson a lot.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's our next guy is a 2-time guy who made our highlighted players for the week.
2 chains.
Right? We have Puka Nakua once again on our highlighted section, or not section, or segment, which is just insane.
Same thing.
I know, right? 32 fantasy points. He was out 90. He was actually out there 95% of snaps. He had 10 targets, 9 receptions, 163 yards, and yards per catch were about 18. So I mean, this guy is electric. So I'm really curious to see how Puka stays in these kind of roles once Kupp comes back, because with Puka kind of doing what he's doing, I'm kind of curious how this is going to affect him once Kupp does come back.
I think they're gonna have a dogfight on their hands. Honestly, this might be blasphemous. He might be just as good as Cooper Kupp is. He might be. I mean, they literally might have to fight for targets now. And who I think it's going to hurt. I mean, it's going to be great for the Rams if Stafford stays healthy. I mean, they're gonna, if Stafford stays healthy, and then Kyren Williams, another guy he surprised me. I know you've been on him for a while. Kyren Williams has been playing pretty damn well. I know he got banged up in the game, but if they can get and Higbee, he can chip in his part. The Rams could be a true threat, man. I think it's going to hurt Tutu Atwell, but I don't think it's going to hurt Puka at all. I think Puka and Kupp are going to be putting up some crazy numbers going forward. And if that all depends on Stafford. If Stafford goes down, season over, and then it might be time to bench one of the two. Either Cup or Puka, whoever's not getting the targets. But I mean, I think going forward, once Cup comes back, which I think will be probably week 6. I don't know about this week, but I'm thinking more like week 6. I'd have to see if when the Rams bye is, but I'll look at that. But yeah, Puka, just been tearing it up, man. Setting records for a rookie, just incredible.
Yeah, he was actually had one more catch than I can't remember who it was offhand. I think it was Jefferson or one of those two guys that he outplayed for reception wise, which was just insane, man. I'm sure people who are happy who have this guy on their team. I actually had him on I have him on most of my teams. He had me nice points, but I ended up losing out on a lot of my leagues this week. It was not a good week. That's for damn sure. But I mean, other than that, Puka, I don't know. If if Cup does come back, do we try to get off him or do we actually hold on to him?
Hold on to him. Yeah, you don't know. He's got this isn't a flash in the pan, 1 year wonder, couple game. A lot of these fantasy guys, they come and go. That's how you have to treat it like the stock market. Like Zach Moss. Like Zach Moss is filling in right now for Taylor, but if Taylor comes back and they don't trade him, then Zach Moss is the one you move off of. And Taylor, but I think with the Rams, you stick it out with Puka. I think he's gonna you're gonna see a lot of dividends from him. I think it'd be foolish. I think it'd be foolish to like, oh hey, his stock will never be higher, which might be true, but I'd hold on to him because you're gonna see a lot more 100-yard games from him. I truly believe that.
So right now he's
Monday.
All right. Well, just got a couple more guys to talk about here, and then we'll end up getting to our waivers. So, our next guy is Alvin Kamara. A lot of us have been waiting for him to come back. I know I have. I was just itching for him. I was like, yes, we actually get to have Kamara in our lineups just to scare people. But like, haha, I have Kamara. What about you? I drafted him wherever I could in most leagues, and people are probably like, oh my god, we're playing against Kamara. So he had 34 points. He was on 75% of snaps. He had 11 attempts for 51 yards, 14 targets, 13 receptions for 33 yards. This stat line looks freaking crazy. I just don't understand this stat line. I mean, 34 points, no touchdowns, but 14 targets, 13 receptions. So that's almost like 2 yards per reception, which is insane.
If you saw that lame duck, that limp ass arm of Derek Carr's, you'd understand why. 13 grabs for 33 yards. It's ridiculous. You know what? I mean, fantasy owners, yeah, it's like hell yeah. Take the points, but like going forward for the Saints offense, it's cringe. It's cringe. But if Kamara can get his, jump back on the bandwagon. This might be 2019, 2020 Alvin all over again. He might be the only factor in their offense. Because if Chris Olave, if he's going to be shut out, and I thought he was their best offensive weapon coming into the season, like if he's going to be minimized because Derek Carr is hurt or sucks, and Jameis Winston's going to be in there, throwing picks. He's going to be throwing it to the DBs more than Olave or Michael Thomas. So yeah. If that's all Derek Carr can do is throw little 3-yard out routes to Alvin Kamara out of the backfield, yeah, let's roll with that. Take 34 points any day of the week.
Yeah, I will if that really does come to be, and if Michael Thomas is not getting it done or Olave, yeah, Alvin Kamara he's just as electric as these other two guys. I would think that they wouldn't have played Carr. Maybe Winston would have been a better option for them to actually maybe possibly stay in this game. With with his, especially with his shoulder and stuff like that, I would have been like, just play Winston, give Carr some rest, and maybe this would have been a different outcome game. Maybe would have been a little bit closer of a game, and Alvin maybe could have gotten a touchdown in there, which would have made everybody freaking happy. If the game script would have been way totally different. Maybe if maybe toss in a little Taysom Hill in there a little bit, just to to misdirect the defense a little bit. But they left Carr in there, and I think he only had 3.18 fantasy points.
I said this about Burrow, and I'll say it about Derek Carr too. These teams are stubborn because they think, oh, hey, we've got a decent defense, or we have a stacked roster, we got weapons up the ass. Like, shut your quarterback down. Derek Carr is doing nobody any good. Jameis Winston, I mean, I have my opinions of him, but I mean, the man can chuck the ball. I mean, he's capable of 300-yard passing games. He is. He's capable of 2-3 touchdowns. I mean, he'll throw a bunch of picks, but that doesn't matter if the receivers are eating and Kamara's eating, and the young rookie trying to slips my mind, the running back, Kendre.
Yeah, Miller.
Yeah,
Yep.
if he's feeding, like, then everybody's happy. So, but I think same situation as Cincy. I know the Saints are 2-2, they're in it or whatever, but I think you shut Carr down, put him on the IR 4 weeks, put Winston in there, and I think definitely the value of these Saints offensive players would go up.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I think this would have been a way totally different looking game from what I saw. I'm just like, this guy injured his shoulder. He's not gonna be able to throw the freaking ball down the field where Olave and Michael Thomas are available. Where these guys are best at, and it showed.
Not when you got Shaq Barrett and Devin White teeing off on you. I mean, the Bucks. I mean, that was ugly, man. That was awful.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm not sure how many sacks the D had, but yeah, it was not good at all. But yeah, we got one more guy to talk about here. Before we get there, Bubba says Winston was smart and made Olave his number one, or Winston was smart and made Olave his number one. Carr needs to start doing that too and feed Kamara for yards. Yeah, Kamara is he's electric. I mean, once they get the the open or the pass game opened up, then you're able to freaking get Kamara going. I mean, Kamara, he's like the eater of worlds, man. I mean, once this guy gets the ball, man, I mean, he does what he does. I mean, this guy can go off for 6 touchdowns. I mean, this guy is electric. If once their offense is going, I mean, shit, this guy is the ball. He's just boom.
And he's got fresh legs too. I mean, that's a big factor. I know it's not week 13 and every running back is shot. I get it. It's only going into week 5, but he's got fresh legs. He didn't do it. He's been suspended for a while. So, Alvin Kamara, I think he is a must start. If you want to break, and we'll talk about a little DraftKings coming up, a little DFS, but yeah, Kamara automatic start this week. I think he's gonna have a damn good weekend.
Yep,
and going forward too. Going forward, rest of the year. Absolutely.
Yep. So two more guys to talk about here quick, and then we'll jump into waivers. So I was only going to do 4, but I think I just had to talk about this guy because, I mean, Jaleel McLaughlin. So everybody's probably wondering.
Jaleel, Jay.
Yeah. Jolene. I'm going to say Jolene. I think there's a country music song.
Jolene,
yes.
Jolene.
Yeah. So this is his college. This is his college stats down here. I was going to do his last week stats in here, but I want to kind of get this guy out here a little bit more so everybody understands who he is. So 28 games, 365 attempts, 3,424 yards, 30 touchdowns. That's right, 30 touchdowns at 6.4 YPA. He was averaging 122 yards a game. So this guy is electric, and I'm pretty sure no one has actually heard of him because this guy is not in the FBS. this guy is actually in the FCS. He actually came from Youngstown State University. I'm not sure where that is offhand, but they actually played in
Ohio.
Ohio. Okay, so they actually played in the Missouri Valley division with us guys. SDSU, NDSU, North Dakota, South Dakota. So he was actually in that division with us guys. So this guy is a 1,000-yard rusher. From when I was actually watching, I was watching this guy's highlights this morning, like almost 30 minutes worth of highlights. I was just sitting there watching him. I was watching all of his last year's highlights.
Meet your meat.
Right. So in 2020, he actually had it's probably his freshman or sophomore year, but 697 yards, 5 touchdowns, not too bad. Next year, played 10 games, 175 attempts, 1,000-yard rusher, 12 touchdowns. And then this last year, 11 games, 277 attempts, 1,500 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns. He does a little bit of work in the pass game, just a little bit, not a lot. I mean, he'll get a few receptions here and there, but just watching this guy, my actually comparison to him is actually he's like a lesser version. He's like the FCS version of the Bijan Robinson. I mean, this guy has got the moves of Bijan Robinson. The way he runs, the way his style of running is pretty damn similar to Bijan's. He likes to run it outside just a little bit, but he can run through the tackles. I mean, and he actually did. He actually was ranked 6th among the FBS running backs last year. So this kid is electric, and I can see why they actually kind of put him in there for a change of pace because Perrine wasn't really doing much. Williams, he actually went out. I have shares of him. He had a hip injury, so that kind of conclude. This kid went undrafted. If you actually go back and watch some of this kid's highlights, you're gonna be like, dude, get this guy playing time. A lot of playing time. This kid is electric.
So and he's a lot of people getting Sean Payton's doghouse. I mean, he guy's an offensive guy. He made, I mean, chicken shit into chicken salad with the Saints with a bunch of players, Marcus Colston, Reggie Bush, think all the years, Pierre Thomas, and then more recently, what he did with Kamara. Kamara was a 3rd-round pick, and now might be a Hall of Fame running back. Michael Thomas got him the single season receptions record. Like Sean Payton knows off. He doesn't know anything about defense, but he knows offense, and he loves this kid. From what I was hearing, Javonte is questionable for week 5 and maybe going forward. Javonte, that might be a recurring thing in his career. I mean, because he got banged up last year. He just might be an injury-plagued running back. Samaj Perine, the big off-season pickup from the Bengals. Yeah, he's been disappointing. So, why not get McLaughlin in there? Give him some reps and see what he can do. I fantasy-wise, because I think he's gonna start this week. You know what? I know it's not official that Javonte is going to be out, but I would be under that assumption. And running backs, the herd just thins out like crazy. You get to week 5, it's hard to find waiver running backs. So anytime one pops up, it's like 40 dudes at the dance trying to get with the one pretty girl. Okay, everybody's like, she's mine. So everybody's rushing. Got to get Jaleel. Got to get him. So if you guys are putting in waivers tonight, if your league does it for Wednesday or Thursday, this guy, bid on him, do what you got to do, because at least for the next couple weeks, he's going to be. And I was reading an article too that he's going to be getting more snaps. So I would definitely roll with him for what's available.
I think the little bit of downside with him is he played in the FCS, so the holes that he's seen there might have been a lot easier for him to transition from why he had a lot of good plays. And I think the little bit of his weakness could be the faster pace of the NFL where the holes can be, they close very, very quick. So I've seen his decision making does look great, but I think he'll have to kind of learn to make his cuts little bit more quicker, coming to the NFL level, which he was undrafted. He wasn't drafted, so he came in and signed with Denver, and he actually, looked pretty good in his. I've seen some of the preseason highlights of him. He looked the same, but preseason you're playing against weaker people and stuff like that. Now you're playing against the ones and stuff like that. So I think going forward, I think he just needs to, if he sees that hole, hit it quick and be gone, because this kid can hit the second level pretty damn quick.
Hey, hitting the hole quick and hit it and quit it. I'm all about that. This Jaleel McLaughlin, he sounds like my kind of guy.
Yes.
But we got one more. I love Jay's list, but I'm gonna give you my Gold Star Player of the Week. I mix it up. I try to usually, it depends. I'm going to use McCaffrey this week because he just had too good of a week to ignore. I try to go with guys that are a little under the radar so that you can make trades for them, or you can kind of maybe pick them up from the waiver if they blew up. Last week I did Adam Thielen. He was a guy that I thought highly of in DFS and in trying to see if you could make a deal for. But McCaffrey, obviously, he's 100% rostered. Maybe the MVP of him and Josh Allen. Maybe 1A for the MVP of the league so far. Just tore it up against Arizona at 106 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and then throw in, 7 receptions, 71 yards, a touchdown, 4 total touchdowns, almost 200 total yards between everything. He's got 459 yards rushing. I didn't mention all the receiving yards he has as well, in the graphic there. But yeah, McCaffrey, just been amazing. And we'll it'll be a different player every week. Who knows? I mean, we've done Brian Robinson Jr. We've done, like I said, Adam Thielen, now McCaffrey. So we'll see who pops up next week. Maybe Alvin Kamara. Who knows? But that's my Gold Star Player of the Week. Get the little gold star. When you're in 3rd grade that you can put on mom's fridge. Go grab it, stick it on, and call yourself CMC. How about that?
There you go. Maybe everybody needs to go and put Eli, on their little fridge there, put Eli's highlighted or gold star players, and every week just put a gold star there. Oh, it was CMC this week. Like who's going to be next week? So that would be quite hilarious.
Yeah, you guys should if you want to, we take, you're listening, by the way, you're listening to Out of Rhythm, Eli and Jamie, Eli, however you want to pronounce us. It's been a great show so far. We've talked a lot of players, Michael Wilson, AR5, Puka again. We always talk about him, talked about some of the recaps, some of the games. I just did my Gold Star Player. And, if you guys have any questions, go and get on the page or DM us or something, even comment here if you have any questions about anything. And if you have a suggestion too for, I think it'd be cool if Eli did, or he did this segment, or, I like his Gold Star Player, or if he did something here, or Jamie did something, a segment like that, or, Jamie usually does the ghosting. I like that. If you have any feedback for us, go ahead, and let us have, we could use a review, comments, everything. So, but yeah, it's been fun so far. We're about to get in some waivers. Oh yeah.
Our second half of the show, where we got to get this shit on the road.
Bam. Got my gavel. Bam. Second half. Let's get it rolling.
All right. I think he's checking something.
Okay. I think there's a heartbeat there. Is there a heartbeat? Yeah, I think there is. Yep. Okay. I got some week 5, the Fab 5 pickups. And, we talked about a few of these guys earlier because they were just that damn good, and they're available in a bunch of different leagues. So how, you like that little prop. So my rule of thumb, because, Eli, where's Tyler Boyd? Where's some of the other? Yeah, I agree. Tyler Boyd, is rostered on 37% of Yahoo teams. I keep it under 20%. And that was the rule. I mean, for example, like CJ Stroud last week, I was going to talk about him. He jumped up to 21%. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to keep it, keep it 100 on here. And, CJ Stroud's up to 48% owned now. So, and next thing you know, the week after that, he blows up again, has another monster week. It'll be 65%. So he's rising. Puka obviously now is probably 100% rostered. It's, incredible, his rise. So that could be Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson keeps putting up, 26, almost 27 point stat lines every week fantasy. Like he starts taking some of those targets away from Hollywood Brown, and you're gonna be seeing a lot of him. Get him now, 4% rostered. That's why I have him as the number one pickup this week. Get him now while he's cheap. And I don't think this is a fluke. I think this is sustainable, like going forward, because I don't see them maybe drafting somebody next year, but for the season wise, he's going to be in the mix. He's going to be either a top 2 or 3 receiver at worst for the rest of the season, in my opinion. And I like the rapport that him and Josh Dobbs have together. Jaleel McLaughlin, me and Jamie just talked about, then only 5% rostered. Now is the time to jump on him. I know people probably have some injuries. You could stash this guy away on your bench. He's going to be getting more looks. And, if he doesn't start this week, he'll start in the next couple weeks. It's inevitable. Josh Dobbs, talked about him there with Michael Wilson. Josh Dobbs still only 6% rostered. 3 of the 4 games, he's had at least 18 fantasy points. So, I mean, this guy, he's putting up decent stat lines. I mean, if you want to give me probably a top, I'd say he's probably a top 23 fantasy probably somewhere between 22 and 23 in terms of fantasy quarterbacks so far, which ain't bad. I mean, especially for a backup, that's a nice 1 week fill-in guy. That's a nice, 2 quarterback league as your second guy. That's a nice DFS, option. Josh Dobbs has come to play, and until Kyler comes back, yeah, I think he's got some value. Number 4 and 5 were kind of late additions. I was going to go with a couple different guys. I had Greg Dulcich from the Broncos. He's coming back from the IR, and I had him at 5 originally because I'm like, hey, go get some Dulcich now while he's cheap and he's only 13% rostered. Go and grab him, stash him, and then you could probably start him, middle of the season. Give you a good tight end. But you know what? We went with a couple different guys instead. Ronnie Rivers from the Rams. If Kyren Williams is going to go down, they don't have Cam Akers anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's Zach Evans, not really a factor right now. So Rivers is the next man up. So if Kyren Williams, and he's questionable for week 5, if Kyren Williams is not playing, Ronnie Rivers is probably going to get the start. And it's, like I said, it's hard to find productive running backs at this stage of the season now. This isn't week 1 or 2 anymore. So Ronnie Rivers, 0% rostered. You can get him in any size league. And the same thing with Darnell Washington. He's the stud young tight end that the Steelers drafted from Georgia. It was a beast for them for a couple years. Freiermuth is out for at least week 5, and and that might you never know. Some of this stuff lingers. It might turn into he's out. Because I think the Steelers have a bye. They have a bye week 6, so the next time you might see Pat Freiermuth is week 7. So why not take a flyer on Darnell Washington if you need a tight end? If you have an empty roster spot, or you can IR somebody. I liked him. I don't know if you remember a lot of him at Georgia, but he was a damn good tight end. And this was the greatest tight end draft in the history of the league, in my opinion. So just because he hasn't been mentioned as much as Laporta or Kincaid or Musgrave from the Packers doesn't mean that this kid can't play too. I think he's a nice backup to Freiermuth. I know the Steelers' offense is junk, but maybe he can surprise some people. But these are my Fab 5 of the week. 5.
Yeah, I was actually because we were actually talking about Rivers in our divisional preview, and I was actually going to try to find that just for a moment because we actually did talk about Rivers in this in the Rams in the running back situations. So yeah, I think I had some projections up there. I think he is a rookie this year. I don't remember where he came from, but I just know he was a rookie, and we were just kind of I think we were kind of skeptical on where he would fit into this scheme and whatnot, more than likely.
Were they? No, damn it. I'm trying to remember. I remember him from.
Yeah. Yeah, because we actually broke this down because that's when I did all those cool
Yeah,
little
I remember you.
graphics. Yeah,
Remember
I
you
had we had
mentioned.
him.
I'm trying to remember what school he went to.
Yeah, I don't remember. Was
Oh,
it TCU?
Fresno State. Fresno
Okay,
State. Yeah.
yeah. 'Cause I know we talked about him, so yeah, I couldn't remember offhand myself either. Yeah, which is crazy, crazy,
So
crazy.
I mean, so he's a California kid, Fresno State. So McVay probably heard about him a few years ago. So McVay's probably known about him. Uh, Obviously, they have a nice young, between Evans, uh, Rivers, and Kyron Williams. All three backs are either first or second year backs. So they got some young running backs there, young Lions, and Big D. Oh, Donovan. Ooh, go Donovan. Mitch Trubisky
Donovan,
can't throw more than 5 yards. That's a great suggestion. That's a great suggestion. Uh, hey, Pickett's only questionable. Now Pickett could throw it 8 yards. Okay, Mitch is about 5, and Pickett's about 8. So, and yeah, tight end. Hey, if Darnell Washington is the only guy Trubisky can hit, I mean, he did pretty. Hey, people knock Trubisky, but he had a nice rapport with Cole Kmet when he was in Chicago. So that's anything's possible. Now Jay's gonna talk about his.
yes, yes, we are into
I'm gonna
now
shut my
we're
mouth.
into the we're into the sleeper six side of the show now. This is for all the sleeper guys out there who are playing it sleeper. So we mentioned McLaughlin. He's only 2% rostered over there. Joshua Dobbs, I I think he can be almost fantasy irrelevant a little bit. I think he's got, Eli just mentioned him. He's got, least average of 18 fantasy points, and he's maybe he can hit Wilson here. I got him Wilson too as well. So Dobbs is slowly getting a little traction, especially with all the stuff that's actually going on too here, because with bye weeks going in, and especially if Pickens is hurt. I mean, you need somebody else to fill in, especially in two quarterback leagues. Joshua Dobbs, he could be a fill in for that week till somebody else comes back. But I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't do it if I really had to. Yes, I would probably I would take the risk and see what happens. um, the Lions defense, they're playing the Panthers this upcoming week. They had 5 sacks, 2 interceptions. They're the last. Yep, in the last 5, the last 2 games here, they've been averaging about 280, but then been only giving up about 280 some odd yards the last 4 games total of all 4 games here. Michael Wilson only 6% rostered, and Jonnu Smith only 2% rostered. I know is Jonnu Smith the better option over Kyle Pitts right now?
He, I'll let you get to Jameson Williams here in a second, but I was going to throw my hat in on Jonnu Smith. He Kyle Pitts, they don't know what to do with it. Arthur Smith doesn't know what to do with him. I mean, really, you don't go from being like the 4th overall pick, having a great rookie year, being like an all pro level tight end, to just being a scrub overnight. Like, it's less than 2 years later. So, but right now, of the two, Jonnu Smith, it's all 3 of his 4 games. In the first game, he didn't get any targets. Like game 1, other than that, he's had at least 5 targets in the 3 games. So he's getting targets. Had 95 yards, this past week. So against Jacksonville. So yeah, Jonnu Smith, I think you could argue, for as cheap as he is, 2% rostered in all these different leagues, and you get him in sleeper, in sleeper, you can get him in Yahoo, ESPN, anywhere. I'd snag him up. I think he's the better play than Kyle Pitts right now. Now come back to me in maybe week 12, but right now Jonnu Smith is the better play.
Oh, week 12. How about like week 6 or 7?
I gotta have some margin for error here. So I leave it open.
It's hard saying because Jonnu Smith, he's been around for a while. I mean, he was with the Titans for a while. He was one of their better tight ends down there. He actually went up to the Patriots for a little bit. Now he's down there with the Falcons. He's a little bit older. I mean, a little bit older tight end. I mean, he's been around for a while. I mean, yeah, if he can actually get the targets, it's sad to say, that we're saying this over Kyle Pitts because everybody wants Kyle Pitts to actually be the guy down there, and it just seems like it's just not working out. Nothing's going on. It's sad to say that.
If they and they've got some young, nice offensive pieces. We both like Drake London. That's another guy they don't know what the hell to do with. So I think it's more of the play calling because Drake London's got top 20 fantasy receiver potential, and they don't use him properly. So Pitts, if I'm Pitts, I demand a trade. I'm like, look, get me the hell out of here. You don't know what you're doing. Like, you're wasting me away. His second contract's about to come up. If you guys are gonna be a running team, I mean, I get it with Algier and Bijan. If we're gonna be a power running team, I get it, but I'm not here to block. Like, Jonnu Smith does a little bit of both. He blocks, he catches. He's kind of a more well-rounded veteran tight end.
Yep.
Kyle Pitts has one job: run. He's basically Atlanta's version of Kelsey. Run down 15-yard post route, right in the basket. That's what he does. He's a speedster.
Yeah, that's for sure. Maybe he should go to the Panthers. They need one down there. That might help them out.
They want to trade him within division. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he'd be definitely an upgrade over Hayden Hurst.
Yep. And then I got Jameson Williams. Yeah, he might be 53% rostered, but go out there and check your waiver wires just in case he might be out there. I mean, yeah, he's a little bit rostered. You just don't know. He might be out there in a few leagues. So go out there and snag him up if you're able to. I know in most of the leagues I'm in, he's probably taken, but there could be a slim chance that he's not, or there is a slim chance he could still be out there. So just make sure, go out and snag him up. And then my last final segment for my sleeper 6 top. This is for the deeper leagues.
Ooh.
Yes, deeper leagues. This is McLaughlin. We just mentioned him. He's out there. I actually got two Jets guys on here. I got Zach Wilson and Alan. Yes, it's we're getting down to slim pickings. I was gonna probably leave Dobbs up here, but I'm like, Zach Wilson is. I kind of wanted to write this kid off because the first game I was like, this kid is trash. He didn't look great. I'm like, why?
Where's the trash can at?
Yep. Everybody was hating on this guy. I mean, he is like, hey, get this guy up out of here. I mean, this guy is a joke. Why are we playing this guy? They wanted somebody else to come in, but he actually looked decent enough where if you really needed a quarterback in deeper leagues, I think he's starting to kind of come around. He looked like, I mean, he actually was taking more accountability for his actions with that late. I think honestly, with that late fumble, if he didn't lose that snap, I think the Jets would have won that game. The Jets were actually looking like the better team. I mean, I was hoping for them to come back and actually take this game over with, because that would have been the story. Zach Wilson from being a dud to a stud, and
I'm gonna say this quick before you get to Lazard and a few other guys. This is something. If you guys anybody watching, if you want to comment on this, and if you have some, you want to put your 2 cents in, your hat in the ring. A unhealthy Derek Carr or a Zach Wilson. I wouldn't have said this a couple weeks ago. I will take Zach Wilson over this version of Derek Carr any week of the year going forward. Like, Derek Carr right now, while he's banged up, is trash. He is absolute garbage. Few other guys, Desmond Ridder. I mean, right now, Zach Wilson going forward. Like, if you're gonna get Allen Lazard involved in the offense, and Garrett Wilson's gonna do his thing, Breece Hall don't do his thing. I think Zach Wilson, at least 2 guys off the top of my head, he's a better play than Desmond Ridder from the Falcons, and he's a better play than until Derek Carr gets healthy. So Zach Wilson, if he's available, and if in a lot of these, especially sleeper, these dynasty leagues or these really competitive, hyper competitive leagues, which some of you guys are probably involved in, like, if you can get Zach Wilson on your bench, I'd do it. He looked, not every week is going to be 245 and 2 touchdowns. No, but Kansas City's got a decent defense. I mean, he didn't tear up Denver. I mean, it's not like, he looked good. And yeah,
Uh,
I thought I'd defend Zach Wilson for a change. He looked good.
so let's not talk about Ritter because he's I just
Garbaggio.
this overall just Zach Wilson looked like he was actually having fun in this game. You know, he looked like himself a little bit more, the BYU kid that we wanted to see, that they drafted him in the first place in the first round. He was, and this is what he should be doing. I mean, yeah, it's I liked what I saw because Alan Lazard actually got a touchdown in there. He had like I think he caught all of his targets. I think there was all three, either three or four. He caught all of his and a touchdown. Um, I mean, if it does come down to be it, I mean, if they're stopping Wilson, Lazard is the next best guy, and in this offense, Brees Hall had a nice few runs. I was happy about that. I mean, I seen Brees Hall; he had a nice few runs. So Alan Lazard is out there. I just mentioned Michael Wilson. He's 5% rostered out there, so he's still out there in quite a few leagues. Terrence Marshall, only 5% rostered. He's getting in. He's actually getting a little bit of work in still. I mean, Thielen might be their other, their number one right now, but I think Marshall is their number one guy. He's been there a lot longer. He knows his offense. I just think sooner or later Marshall is going to outbeat Thielen down the road.
Well, especially with Mingo still being banged up. So Jonathan Mingo's not taking targets away. DJ Chark is trash. So yeah, Terrence Marshall. That is a, no pun intended, sleeper pickup.
Right. And then we got Mitch Trubisky, 0% rostered, just in case if Pickens can't play, Trubisky is the next guy in hand to get playing time. So yeah, these are my guys for deep sleepers that I kind of seen that are more reliable guys that I would probably pick up if I had to actually play these guys. So these are the guys that I looked at in a 16 man sleeper. So or that sleeper, well, 16 man league, my bad. So let me rephrase that there a little bit. Oh, look, he actually changed to he changed to YouTube. He's like Zach Wilson all day. And then he also goes to say, I was debating on shopping or keeping Richardson and Purdy. I guess it comes down to
Purdy, keep AR5 and see. I'll see what Jay thinks, but I would. Purdy's value is just through the roof right now. If you have to choose between the two and you need to upgrade another spot because you don't need two starting level quarterbacks, you need a guy to fill in. So if you can trade Purdy for a good back or a good receiver or something, I'd move off Purdy before I'd move off AR5.
yeah, I would. I guess it depends on if you need a running back or if you need wide receiver help. Purdy, I probably would get rid of Purdy. I got a couple of shares of Purdy, but I'm more interested in Richardson because I think Richardson has got a lot more upside than Purdy does. I mean,
Yeah, he
I
does.
think I think Purdy's gonna get a reality when Dallas does play. So,
Michael Parsons all up in it, just bear
yeah,
hugging him,
he
stacking
does.
him
He
3
says,
times.
I guess. Um, who is your running backs? Let us know who your running backs are, and we could probably help you out with there. And then looks like we have a newbie up in here. Hey, Bronson, how's it going? Thank you for actually stopping into our
Bronston.
show. Yes. Thank you for stopping in and joining our show. We appreciate it. If you can, or if you like to, be maybe like a like comment or a like, hit that sub button too as well. And we do have a Discord link. If you know what Discord is, it's down there below. So he goes and asks trade away Ramir and D Hop for Waddle. I guess it depends on if you're okay. If you're okay with giving up one of your running backs and D Hop,
No.
I would.
Clarify. Is this a year-to-year league or is this a dynasty league? Because that would change my thinking. If it's a dynasty league, I would do it because Waddle is third-year guy, more upside. Ramondre Stevenson, I think with what's going on with New England's offense. They're a mess. D-Hop is obviously older. He's 30 or, north side of 30. Year to year, uh,
It says redraft. Is it
redraft. Okay,
is
yeah,
it
year to year redraft.
PPR?
Okay. God, that's tough. I think I don't know, man. What do you? I think you can do a little bit. Also, I'll be frank. I think you can do a little bit better than Jalen Waddle. Now he's great, but I mean D-Hop Stevenson still got some value. I mean, he's not a total scrub, but yeah, we know what's going on with New England's offense. But D-Hop's playing out of his mind right now, and Traylon Burks is question. I think he's going to be out this week. So D-Hop's gonna have another big week. I would see if you can get something thrown, maybe a lesser player thrown in with Waddle, just like kind of a throw-in player, because I think just on the surface, I think it's a little bit off. I think the trade it could be a little bit better. I'll see what Jamie thinks, but yeah, it's Ramondre and D-Hop for Waddle. I think you need a throw-in player with Waddle to make that kosher.
Well, he's given up. I would probably do the deal. I mean, D-Hop he can kind of be a boomer bust. I mean, he might be some days he might actually have a good game, but overall, I actually would rather have Waddle just because that offense is that offense is 10 times better than what the Titans are putting up. If Levis was actually in there and not Tannehill, this offense might look a lot different than Tannehill being in there because Tannehill can't really toss the freaking ball down there. So I would rather have Waddle. I would give up D-Hop and Stevenson.
Now, this is going to be a little off the radar, but I think if you wanted, I think if it was Waddle and Zach Moss for D-Hop and Ramondre Stevenson, I think I'd do that. Like not a great back, somebody that, with an injury could come in and fill the role like he has been doing, not a feature back or anything. But if you can get a Zach Moss or possibly like a backup and like Sean Tucker from Tampa, some guy on that kind of that level, I would do that. But I think D-Hop's outperformed what I thought he would. Honestly, I thought he was shot. I mean, and maybe later in the year he starts to come back to earth, but right now he's the Titans' #1 guy. I mean, and Stevenson still hasn't hit his stride yet. If there is a stride, I don't know. New England's offense is a mess, but that's an interesting. That's a debate. That's a good debate. I like that. That's a good trade because you have my end of it and Jamie's end of it. So I appreciate the comment.
Yeah, I hope that kind of helps you out a little bit.
No question.
Yep. And then Bubba says Aaron Jones, Zach Moss, and Walker. So he's got all those guys. Yeah, it's Aaron Jones is going to be.
He's got good. I'd move off Jones and Moss before I would get Kenneth Walker's still a stud. He hasn't been, Charbonnet, the rookie, hasn't taken away, any attempts yet. DJ Dallas, any of their backups. I mean, Walker's still the feature back with Seattle, and he's still second-year guy. Don't touch him. Aaron Jones, I think, is getting long in the tooth. Move off him. And Zach Moss, I just brought him up in the previous question trade. So, yeah, Zach Moss, you can get something for him. Maybe, or as a stash on the deep in your bench, but get something get something for Aaron Jones for sure. Deal him, throw him in with Purdy, and you can probably get a monster deal.
Right. Yeah. I guess we'll kind of go on. We'll continue on. Let's get into our DFS bargain bins, and if you guys got some more questions, we'll still answer them. So. All right, we'll hit on to Eli's. His bargain.
We're going to Vegas. We're going to Vegas. Got in the red light district. Yeah, I'm like Dion. Play my darn theme music. Play. Just missing the cowboy hat. There we go. Round them up. So every week, if you guys are new to the show, started that this season. so I picked 5 guys who I think are bargains on DraftKings. I know there's other places you can play the DFS, but this is just my personal preference. Love DraftKings. Been using it for years, but so these are the 5 guys I think you can win money with if you go on the low end, and then you can supplement them with with Tyreek and Jefferson and Mahomes and the usual suspects, Josh Allen, and you can offset them with some of these cheaper guys. Number 1, Josh Dobbs. Like we've been talking about him all show. Like I said, 3 of the 4 games, 18 plus fantasy points. That's enough said. I think he's going to continue that this week. Josh Reynolds, the 3 games he's been healthy for, Josh Reynolds has been playing. He's been the Lions' number 2 receiver. He really has been showing out. Just been super impressed with him so far. Only 4,200 steal. Josh Reynolds, he's in my personal lineup every week, except the 1 week that he was out. Jaleel McLaughlin, another guy we've been talking about all show. 5,000, cheap. That's not too bad. If he's going to be the feature back this week, if Javante's out and Perrine, that's he hasn't been lighting the world on fire. We get a lot of McLaughlin this week, and he can surprise some people. Put him there as the running back bargain. Jake Ferguson from the Cowboys, man, he's been tearing it up. He's had 3 of the 4 games. He's been impressive, and he's been filling that Dalton Schultz role pretty damn well. And Jay would know. I mean, that's his team. He's seen it firsthand. Ferguson has been showing up, and he's been upper, probably top 14, top 16 fantasy tight ends. So overall, and that's not a bad place to be. So, and I think that's going to continue. And Marvin Mims Jr., I've had him on a previous DFS 5. 4,000, he's cheap. For 4,000, he's cheap. Throw him in there. Besides, Jerry Jeudy, I think he's going to get traded. Honestly, I think he's out of the mix. Cortland Sutton wants to be there. He's been showing up and playing great. Dulcich isn't back yet. So the targets that would be going to Dulcich, I believe are going to go to Marvin Mims. And this is, I think these are the kind of guys that can win, especially if Josh Reynolds and Mims hit. I think those are the 2 most likely guys this week that'll, because that's cheap, and like I said, you supplement them with Tyreek and JJ and Ayuk, guys like that are hitting every week, and these are the 5 I like. The DFS 5 bargain bin.
Ooh, not bad. Reynolds was kind of a stinker this week. Maybe he can rebound. McLaughlin, yeah, not a bad play at all. I mean, I might actually try to get him in a few of my lineups. And then who else did you have there? Ferguson. That's a he's not a bad option at all for probably cheap like that.
Jake Ferguson.
Dallas might end up having to hit their tight ends a little bit more this weekend. So that's he might get a couple of catches. Maybe it's late touchdown in there. Mims, I think he did have a couple of good catches too as well up in there. I think he had one deep catch. I can't remember exactly offhand, but other than that, I think it was actually pretty good. But I think it's what I
Chicago,
I think for my segment, I got to find a little spooky sound clip or something when we hit the ghost or a toilet bowl or something, or toilet bowl, one of those 2 things. I think that might be that might be
well,
the next.
It is October. It's Halloween month.
Right. So everybody, it's time for our other segment, our ghosts and segment here. So our week 3, if you guys haven't watched last week, our week 3 was Justin Fields, Sam Howell, JSN, Dotson, and that pesky freaking New York Giants, which they looked awful last night. They couldn't get shit going. I think they had 9 sacks. I think there was 9 sacks. I think he had 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions that game. Quite a few.
Cringe.
So yeah, right. So anybody have any ideas for week 4? Anybody got any ideas? Any takers? All right, here we go. Oh, so week 4, we got Kyle Pitts, we got Jordan Addison, Raheem Mostert, Mac Jones, and we got Joe Burrow up in here.
Kyle Pitts. Joe.
Yes. So, I don't know. Kyle Pitts here, he had 4 targets, 2 receptions, 29 yards. Awful, just plain awful. This guy is not looking good. He's not doesn't look like he's part of the offense. Everybody was hoping for this guy to be a top 10 tight end. Not happening at all. The way
Nope.
the way this
I'd
way
rather
this
have Jake
offense.
Ferguson.
There you go.
Give me Jake
It's
Ferguson.
yeah, it's hard saying to see Kyle Pitts being down there with among of the loss of the tight ends. It's this guy's good. I mean, came from the Gators. I mean, this guy was a top one around first round pick for these guys.
Top 5 pick. The 4th overall pick.
Yeah, it's sad to see this guy just going to waste. He might as well just pack up his stuff and not even play for the rest of the year. I mean, he's not going to be irrelevant. That's what it's coming down to right now. Jordan Addison, what the freak?
Oh,
I couldn't.
what the hell?
One
One
target.
No
Nothing. It's just like he didn't show up. He didn't show up for school today or something. I had him in some lineups. I figured he would have been more involved. Get this kid involved. But Jefferson had the heyday. You would think this guy. You would think they would have been trying to toss him the ball a little bit, trying to get this offense going a little bit more. It was close enough to where they actually got a win in, but it looked like they were going to be losing. So it's just like, what the frick? Raheem Mostert, he had 7 carries, only 9 yards. I think he got a little injured, got a little banged up, but he did not look good at all. A lot of us guys were.
Now, excuse me, I'm coughing up that bullshit. Let me get my 2 cents in quick. I'll let you get to the last 2 guys. Now might be the time, and you guys are still listening. Now might be the time to move off Mostert because we knew this was going to happen. A-Chain's kind of taken over. Or as me and Jamie call him, Achan, Devon, Achan. Jeff Wilson's going to come back from the IR soon. Jeff Wilson will probably be taking Mostert's spot. So just be prepared for that. Mostert, this is what he's done his whole career. He's a stud when he's healthy and on the field, but he has trouble being on the field, and this might be the start of the decline.
Yes, that might be, but they do have Jeff Wilson coming back too as well this week. So we'll have to kind of see how this 3-headed monster kind of comes to play, and hopefully maybe Achan is the guy that kind of falls or comes out in the lead out of these guys. So we'll have to kind of see how this all kind of comes to be. Mac Jones, he got rocked by Dallas. 2 completions for 29 attempts for 150 yards and 2 interceptions. He ended
You
up
and I could put up those numbers.
right. He got Mac Jones ended up getting benched for
Bailey Zappi.
Yes, Zappy. He did. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, Zappy's in the game. I'm like, my mind was blowing. But Dallas had a point to prove in. They came out and they pretty much proved why their defense is stout. And Joe Burrow, 20 attempts, 30 completions, 165 yards. This is despicable.
Right.
This is just despicable. I mean, I could not believe what the crap. I could not believe the crap that I was seeing from this guy. This guy is elite. I mean, this guy is, a tier 2 or tier 1 type of QB, and he's looking like a Justin Fields. Doesn't know what he's doing, can't get any plays out, can't get anything going. I mean, it's freaking sad. I'm glad I don't have any shares of this guy because I'd be pulling out my freaking hairs right now. That's me.
I have 1 share of him, and I'm in a tough spot. I played him this past week because I saw some stuff against the Rams. Like, okay, maybe he's a little healthier. It's like, nope. Yep, you're going back to the bench, my friend. And hopefully, the Bengals are smart. They put you on the IR, and they just kind of concede and realize like this ain't our year. Burrow's not right. Something's up, man. You don't go from being a top 5 fantasy QB overnight to being a scrub. It just something's wrong with him, and they need to just put him on the pup.
Yeah, yep. I would have to agree. Well, not pupper, just bench him.
Or
Get somebody
yeah,
else to
something
do it.
bench. Let
But
him rest a couple
in
weeks.
our so so I would for just advice, just bench in your fantasy leagues, just bench him for the week and play somebody else if you can, if you have that option until the since he actually gets something going until they
Yeah. Well, yeah, fantasy wise, fantasy wise, he's still Joe Burrow. So the best case scenario is he goes to IR because then you can use an IR spot, kind of stash him away for 5-6 weeks, and then later in the year come back to him. He's still Joe Burrow. You don't drop Joe Burrow. It'd be like if Justin Herbert was banged up, had 4 bad games. You wouldn't move off Justin Herbert. So don't drop Joe Burrow because somebody, I'm telling you, there's a shark in the league, shark infested waters that's going to come snag him up.
Yeah. Well, if you're in like these little 8-man leagues, yeah, totally drop him. You can drop Burrow and not even look back on it. So there's some people that play in these
Uh,
8-man leagues. Yeah, I would drop him in these little 8-man leagues because they're the waiver wires are stacked. You could probably end up getting a Stroud. You can get an AR5 or whatever. So I mean, these smaller leagues are, you can probably drop them
I
if
suppose,
needed to.
yeah, yeah. You make a good point. Yeah. CJ right now, CJ Stroud is head and shoulders above what Joe Burrow's doing. Not even close. AR5 too. So yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah.
you're probably right. 8 team, maybe even 10 team, you can drop him. But you start getting into 12, 16, 20-man leagues, you don't drop Joe Burrow yet.
Oh no, no. 8-man, yes. 10-man, maybe, but it's depends on who's out there if you want to, but yeah, I wouldn't drop Burrow in maybe a 10 either. But 2 quarterback leagues, I would just set him if you have a different option to play, just put him on your bench and slot somebody else in. Hopefully they can play better
Josh
than
Dobbs.
yeah, there you go.
If you're in a 2 quarterback league, if Josh Dobbs has been riding your bench, went and snagged him up, or he's still in your guys' waiver in your league, go get Josh Dobbs, put him in for Burrow, and stash Burrow on the bench. That would work great too.
Yep. And I think this covers my week 4 of guys who shit the bed. So our last and final segment of the show, our college spotlight of
Yeah,
yes.
spotlight showing on somebody. So, excuse me. Excuse me. So we're trying to jump on some of the players. Last year was the first year of our show, and we didn't do a lot of this stuff, and we wish we did because we could have, given some of these guys. We'd have let you know about a lot of those second, third round guys that popped. You would have known about them earlier had we been doing the segment. So we've been doing it all season so far. Everybody from Brock Bowers from Georgia to Riley Leonard from Duke. Emeka Ibuka, the wide receiver from Ohio State, who's a mid first round grade. So we brought up various guys so far. This is the 5th guy. This is Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. Got that college spotlight. I would say his NFL comp is Derrick Henry. Similar size. Derrick Henry 6'3", 247. Braylon Allen 6'2", 245, but he's a freak athlete. Runs a 4.4 for a man his size. This guy's a freak. PFF has him ranked overall number 55 and running back ranked number 4. Right now, he's projected to be like an early 3rd round pick, which, I mean, that's not the worst thing. I mean, there have been a lot. Alvin Kamara was a 3rd round pick, and we see what he's done in his career. So just because you're a 3rd round pick doesn't mean much of anything. Running backs aren't taken that high to begin with, unless you're a generational, like a Bijan or some guy like that. Is coming out this year. He's only 20 years old, so the kid he hasn't taken a lot of a beating yet. So there's a lot of pros there. 2021 had over 1,200 yards, and 2022 I have listed down there had over 1,200 yards as well. 11 touchdowns, had 13 receptions, 104 yards. But I think this year they're starting to work him more in the passing game because he's already caught 16 passes in 4 games. Has 6 touchdowns already, so I think he'll be showcased more. Wisconsin, they're known for producing NFL running backs. They are, and to varying degrees. Obviously, Melvin Gordon, before injuries got to him, his first couple years in the league with the Chargers, Melvin Gordon was damn good. We know how good Jonathan Taylor is. Back in the day, Ron Dane, and Donovan might remember him, but there's some. Wisconsin has been cranking out NFL backs for quite a while. They're good at cranking out offensive linemen, good at cranking out running backs. And I thought I'd give this guy some love because I think a nice landing spot might be Green Bay. Like if they move off Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon's not very good, to be honest. Like he's proven this year he's not a feature. So if they want a backup running back or a possibly a starter in this kid, get a big bruiser, get a big Derrick Henry kind of guy. Green Bay, he's from Wisconsin. Went to college in Wisconsin. It would only make sense. He ends up with the Packers or some team along the lines of that. But I think this kid will be a steal in the third round. I think he'll have some great value. And you heard it here first. You have any shares of him in any of your fantasy or any thoughts on Braylon Allen?
No, I'll have to take a look and see if he's actually out there on the waiver wire actually to see. Maybe he's taken. I'm not sure offhand, but I would have to check my college fantasy there. But yeah, I was actually watching a couple highlights of him and the way he does run. I mean, his stature of how he runs is very, very similar to Derrick Henry. The way both these guys run, they're very, very similar. I was trying to think of another comp that for taller kind of running backs like him, and how tall was Eric Dickerson? Because I know he kind of maybe I was trying to think of.
Six. Eric Dickerson was, I think, 6'3", but he was also leaner. But yeah, these guys are these taller. I was trying to look myself. Eddie, I'm thinking of all like the 6'2", 6'3" kind of running back. Eddie George. If you remember Brandon Jacobs from the Giants, like when they were winning Super Bowls years ago. Brandon Jacobs, a big bruiser. So I was trying to look at guys like that, but who I kept coming back to was Derrick Henry, and I don't think he's going to be. I mean, Derrick Henry is like a borderline Hall of Fame running back, if not a Hall of Fame running back. So that's a lot to ask from this kid, but I mean, if he could be a little less version, like a poor man's version of Derrick Henry and have some pretty good seasons, I mean, that for a third round pick, that'd be a steal. And yeah, big bruiser, got speed like Henry, just runs over people.
Yeah, from what I saw, yeah, I mean, he's not scared to make contact. So I mean, for his comp for being Derrick Henry, yeah, I mean, if he's a lesser version and maybe gets stacked up a little bit more and can be like Derrick Henry. I mean, somebody's going to win with a guy. He will be a steal if he is a third rounder. I mean, this kid will be a steal. And if you're talking about the Packers, I mean, he could be the head cheese there. So it's. Yeah, I mean, that'd be a nice landing spot where you want to have to leave the state. Be with the Packers. Hell yeah, man! I'll be all down for it too. Bubba says, D. Gene from Iowa is going to be a stud in NFL. Is he running back?
Maybe we'll get to him in an upcoming episode. We take requests here at Out of Rhythm, so maybe we'll do a profile on him down the line. But yeah, Braylon Allen. I think the two teams off the top of my head, I think he'd be a great fit for Packers and Chargers. I think if they we've seen Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly isn't he's not what he needs to be. They need a feature level guy to be a backup to Eckler if Eckler is going to have injury concerns going forward. He's getting up there in age. I think Braylon Allen would be a nice guy to slide in there for 2024. So Chargers and Packers, I would say. But yeah, that's the college spotlight.
Yeah, I do like the Chargers because I mean they have Spiller there too, and Spiller isn't really doing anything either. So that would be a great fit for the
Spiller. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that would be a great fit. But well, everybody, I think that actually wraps up our stream. We appreciate everybody that actually was in the comment section tonight. It was a little slow at start, but it kind of got ramped up a little bit. Bubba, we appreciate you jumping in. Bronson, if you're still there, if you can hit the subscribe button, come back to us. We're here every Tuesday. I think we're going to start doing some stuff on Saturday night for lineup decisions, stuff like that. So that's kind of still in the works yet. So stay tuned for stay tuned for that.
This is the first place we're debuting it. I don't even think I told Jamie. Yeah, we're news to you, buddy. We're debuting the last call. That's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it the last call. And a lot of the waiver questions and a lot of the player trades and various team. It's basically for your own personal team. And so we're doing a last call segment. It should be about half the length of these shows, 30, 45 minutes at most. And we're just taking last minute requests on teams to help you guys, win your matchups or DFS. You have any last second questions, if you do FanDuel or DraftKings or whatever, even point spreads. We don't bring it up on the show, but we bet games too, covering spreads and various things. So we'll cover a bunch of different stuff on that show, and not this coming Saturday, which would be the the 15th. So October 15th should be the pilot episode of the last call, and we'll see how that goes. So that'll be not this coming Saturday the 8th, but the 15th, and we'll come up with a time. Tentatively, I would say, Jay usually goes into work around 9, so we try to keep it before that. So probably 7:30 Central Time in that ballpark. But yeah, there is a second show coming for us.
Yes, that is correct. Big D says everyone should hit the like button at minimum. Yes, they should, because we want to grow this show. We want everybody to come and join our family. Our family.
Join the family. Join. They're so excited.
Last Donovan says, sorry I was so quiet tonight. Board meeting tonight, just catching up around the house. Yeah, a lot of that stuff does happen. You're the big wig up in there. I know that. So, but everybody, if you guys haven't, make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple, Google, and join. The Discord link is actually in the description. So come join us. You can actually still have lineup decisions or questions. Come up down there and join us down there as well. I mean, there most time Eli is there every once in a fly zipper, So, yeah. Other than that, guys,
I'll give you my thoughts. I'll give you my thoughts. All right.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this is gonna wrap up our show. We appreciate everybody that was actually here with us tonight. We appreciate all the comments, and stay tuned for next Tuesday's episode of our recap for week 5, and we will see you guys next time. So from Out of Rhythm, I'm Jamie, and that's Eli. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.